I'm going to show you the secrets to getting the most cinematic AI videos possible. I'm going to break down some tools, tips, and techniques so you can take your AI video to the next level. Take a look at these videos that you'll be able to create. These have all been created by Vidu, which is a brand new AI video generator that you can try out for free. Thanks to Vidu for sponsoring this video. Now, Orson Welles said a film is never really good unless the camera is an eye in the head of a poet. And in this video, we're going to explore how we can use AI video to write visual poetry. But what exactly does cinematic mean? This term is often thrown around, but it refers to the qualities that make a film visually captivating and emotionally engaging. It includes aspects like composition, lighting, color grading, and camera movement. Together, we're going to break each of these down so you can achieve the most cinematic look possible in your AI video. Now, the first thing to consider when creating a cinematic video is to plan your footage effectively. Consider what are the elements that you're going to put in that are going to give it this cinematic feel. And the first one to consider is having a blurred background, which means that you have your subject clearly in focus and a blurred background, which separates your protagonist, your subject, from their environment. This really allows you to lead the eye and communicate what is most important in a scene. Now, our natural human vision does this. If you hold your hand in front of your face, you'll be able to see that everything behind your hand comes slightly out of focus. But what we can do with AI is we can define how much focus we have on each element. And you can do this using terminology related to the depth of field. A shallow depth of field means only a small part of the image is in focus, with everything else blurred out, while a deep depth of field keeps the whole shot in focus. Now, to get more specific, you can use a camera setting known as f-stop, and this allows you to precisely define how much focus there is on different elements in your image. If you put in an f-stop of f1.4, you're going to get a very blurred background. Now, if you raise this number, you are going to get a less blurred background. Now, the next thing you can do is specify the type of camera that you want the footage to be shot on. So if you specify iPhone, you're going to get something that's going to feel a lot more casual. But if you specify a cinematic camera, for example, you can put in the Sony FX6, which is one that I like to specify. And this is a cinema grade camera, and this will help enhance the cinematographic qualities of your work. Now, the next things to consider for a cinematographic look is to consider the composition. The art of cinematography is effective composition. Where are you placing the camera? Where are you placing the subject? And you can play around with this by putting in specific types of composition. For example, you can look to have a rule of thirds, which is naturally pleasing to the eye, where you imagine you're dividing the shot into 3 parts, and there are significant elements that are portioned off in each third. Or alternatively, you could look to work with a symmetrical style of composition, which is particularly popular in Wes Anderson style films. So to make it feel cinematic, the idea is to bring in intentional composition that pleases the eye. Next up is to also have an intentional color palette. You can restrict the type of tones that you're using, and this enhances the quality and the aesthetic of your work. Consider to specify the type of tones that you're looking to work with. You could be using complementary colors like blues and oranges, which is how I've got this shot set up here. So let's put this into practice and hop into Vidu and show you how this can work with simply building out our own text prompt. Now, a few more words about Vidu is that you can come to vidu.studio and create your own videos. Right now, you can try it out for free, and it gives you the ability to create 4-second long videos, either from text prompts or from images. It's a great AI video tool, and I'm excited to show you what it's capable of. So adding in these elements, specifying them will help give you a cinematic look. So I've put in an urban scene, a woman walks in the rain with a shallow depth of field, f1.4, shot on Sony FX6, complementary tones, blue and orange. Now you can simply go ahead and press create and take a look at this video that we get out. Now, to get the most out of Vidu, it's important to upscale your videos, and it has an inbuilt upscaler which can be accessed by selecting upscale and then pressing upscale again on the left. Now, this not only drastically improves the resolution of your videos, it also massively improves the coherence, and you can see it completely re-renders the video in a more consistent way. Now, as you can see from all of these examples that I've created in Vidu, that you can get wonderfully cinematic quality footage. Now, as you can see, simply defining the camera, the lighting, and the colors gives you some cinematic qualities. But what really takes your cinematography to the next level is intentionally selecting the subject matter. And this is what you're going to put in the frame. And by being intentional, by being creative, by having a vision, you can really specify something that is beautiful and unique. Therefore, it's important to think, what objects, what elements bring in a real beautiful sense of immersiveness and cinematography? Well, the first is to consider light. What are the light sources that you want to be using in your shot? Are these natural elements of light? Are you using the sun? And at what time of the day is that? The most cinematic time of day is known as the golden hour, and that is the hour at both sunrise and sunset. And at this time of the day, the light is at its most beautiful. It casts longer and softer shadows over its subjects and gives them an almost golden, glowing quality. But you can also work with other cinematic types of artificial light. For example, you could have a full moon. This casts an eerie glow over your subjects. But alternatively, you can think about using candlelight, can give very strong shadows and give a sense of intensity and spirituality. Neon lights can be beautiful for casting colored shadows over your subjects. And then also, how does the light act inside of the frame? Is the light source visible? So for example, if you do have a fire or a candle, these can be wonderful elements which add a sense of motion to the shot, especially because humans are obsessed with staring at fire. For thousands of years, we sat around fires and simply gazed into them, telling stories. So you can use this to your advantage by putting elements that are naturally enticing and attractive to the human eye into your shot. Now, beyond fire, you can also be looking at smoke and steam. These are also very beautiful elements that add a sense of atmosphere to your work. And you can imagine that if it's a foggy morning and the fog is slowly clearing, or perhaps you have an eerie Viking shot with an owl that suddenly swoops down and disappears into the abyss of a misty lake. Now, you can also think about other moving objects, perhaps animals in the background. People love to watch dogs and babies. So putting these into the shot adds a sense of interest. I think it's irresistible to resist watching animals at play and enjoying themselves. There is a saying in cinema that is cut to the monkey, which essentially means when you don't know what to do, just cut to a monkey, because monkeys are inherently interesting to watch. Now, once you have your videos outputted, one thing that you can do is you can play around with editing techniques to add a cinematic feel to them. So instead of simply starting your clip, you can look from fading to black into the clip, just as this example shows. And what this does is it gives you a sense of starting. Now, of course, you can do the opposite, and you can also fade out from a shot, which gives you a sense of ending, of closure, of opening up the interpretation of the shot to the audience. Now, there are current limitations to AI video and creating truly cinematic experiences, but these can be mitigated with effective planning. Now, for example, it is difficult to maintain consistency with complex movements, such as walking, but using intelligent composition, we can obscure the legs of individuals so that we're not seeing them in a full frame walking along. And simply by planning ahead and not putting in a shot things that are difficult for AI video to generate, we can maintain a believability to our work. So try to avoid running and dancing and essentially complex movements related to humans. However, if you have objects that move along a consistent line of motion, these are much easier to generate. For example, you can see from this car example. And with that, I think it's important to bring in a quote for today, and that is from Martin Scorsese. What he says is, Cinema is a matter of what's in the frame and what's out. What this means to me is being intentional, being selective, making sure that you are defining the story by where you're placing the camera and where you're placing your action. The important things about cinema, as Roman Polanski says, is that cinema should make you forget you're sitting in a theatre. And I would bring that up to date to say that cinema should make you forget that you're watching an AI-generated video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out Vidu in the description below. I'm also launching the AI Filmmaker Academy this week. If you'd like to be part of the beta group, email me at collaboration@aifilmmaker.academy. Make sure to put beta in the subject line, and you'll receive an invitation to join at a special price later this week. Now, most of all, I wish you a delightful day.